Hello guys, happy Sunday. I'm a few minutes late, sorry. It's like the story of my life here on Facebook. But I am here and let's see if I can get this on the iPad. There we go. So that I can see any comments. So hopefully someone will be joining. Right, so I was gonna make this card earlier this afternoon because I thought I saw this sketch challenge and I wanted to take part. And then I thought, well, I might as well wait and make it live. So I see a couple people are here, so say hello, let me know who you are. And let's make sure this is in the frame. Sorry, I feel like I don't have anything lined up very well tonight. But I think we're okay now, except for my light's gonna like fall off. Okay. All right. So I wrote down the sketch. So here's the sketch. So this is what the card is supposed to look like. So you've got your card base, you've got two rectangles, however you want those to be, and then a little rectangle up in the corner. Hello from around the corner. So this is what we're aiming for. Okay, so I have done a little bit of prep work because I didn't want this video to take forever. And I also wanted to sort of have a little bit of my card thought out. So we have a Blackberry Bliss card base. And then because I am going to stamp and heat emboss on this, I didn't want to do that right on the card base because I find sometimes when you heat emboss it, it just kind of gets a little bit warped. So I have a second piece of Blackberry Bliss, which is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So that is the one we are going to stamp and heat emboss on. Okay, and then here are my two rectangles. So this one I have already cut. This is from that amazing space paper. This paper. Stargazing, the stargazing paper is what it is called. So I had already selected this piece, and this I cut to be 5 3/8, and it's 1 1/2. Okay, so that is going to go down in the bottom of this. Now here, this is a piece of Berry Burst, and my plan is to use the blending brush on this, and this is going to be our second rectangle. That's going to go sort of comme ça. And then I decided I was going to work with the It's a Science stamp set because I've only made one card with this, and I'm a science geek, so this is what I wanted to work with. So I already have pre-stamped on watercolor paper, and I've already done a bit of fussy cutting because I didn't want to spend like half the video fussy cutting. These 4 beakers. So that is a single stamp set there, okay? So I've already stamped those, and that is stamped in StazOn on the watercolor paper. So we're going to watercolor that. And then I've also already stamped, because again, I didn't want to spend all our time fussy cutting. This is with Memento. I've stamped the clipboard because I kind of thought this could be our little piece up here, the clipboard. And I was kind of thinking, I'm kind of making like, I know it's not Valentine's, but it's kind of like a Valentine's, or it might be, I could use this for my anniversary, which isn't until November, but regardless. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do, this is going to be my second rectangle, and then these guys I was going to watercolor and have them on here. So we're going to have to kind of figure out how big this piece is going to be. But for now, I just wanted to add a bit more texture to it. And so I was going to do that with my blending brush and adding some Blackberry Bliss. So I'm just going to pick up some ink with my blending brush, and I'm going to start by inking off the side, and I'm just going to kind of very lightly bring this in, and I'm going to kind of go around the edge. I don't really want to go in the middle. I'm trying to bring just dimension is what I'm thinking, depth and dimension. I had read maybe I saw it, but someone had a good idea. If you are blending and you don't want it all over your fingers, to wear gloves, which I thought was a good idea. I don't know, we always have like a box of latex gloves in the house for, you know, whenever you just might need them. But I also like to use them sometimes when I'm dealing with raw meat or if I am dealing with beets, so I don't end up with pink hands. Okay, so I'm just kind of trying to blend that out a bit. And then we can always add more depending on what I decide is my rectangle. But we just have a bit more of, you know, depth and contrast to that piece of cardstock now. So we're gonna set that aside, okay? And then we're gonna work with that. And then this guy, I was going to stamp this You and Me is chemistry, but I also wanted to color it. So clipboards are often like a beige color, right? Like chipboard is what I find. So that's not bad. What's this? This is dark crumb cake. No, not that one. I might use one what's this guy look like? Yeah, something more like this. So this is the number 500 if you've got those skin tones. So I'm just gonna color our clipboard. Although I guess nowadays clipboards can be anything. Sometimes they're that stainless steel, right? Or they're like white. I was just thinking of the one that was in my kid's school supplies that he never used. So we're gonna use that. And then we are going to use maybe gray granite for this bit, because this would be the part that's like the metal clip, right? So this is a light gray granite. And then I'm going to take dark and come in here a little. And then what I'm also going to do is take light Pool Party down here on the edge of my paper. Maybe there. And then I'm going to take my color lifter. But sometimes I want a little bit of color. But not a ton. Okay, and then we're going to stamp the words. So I'm trying to think if I want that to be in black. So I'm going to leave that for a second because I'm not sure. And this I wanted to watercolor. And we want to kind of go with a similar, so I've got my aqua water painters here. We want to go with a sort of similar color scheme to that. So there's a couple of options when you watercolor. You can use your re-inker and just put some re-inker on a block and just go straight with the ink, or you can use the top of your ink pads. So I am going to use a little bit of our Berry Burst because we're working with that. I'm also going to use a little bubble bath, I think. And then I'm going to use lemon lolly, I think, because, you know, often in a laboratory, things are yellow. And then let's just take a look. We could do a dark purple. I'm just going to try to look and see what colors. So I'm using these all the time. So Berry Burst, Melon Mambo Crumb Cake, Old Olive Blueberry Bushel, Coastal Cabana, and Daffodil Delight. So we could do Daffodil Delight. So let's maybe do Daffodil Delight instead. Coast Blueberry Bushel. Yeah, we could do that. Let's do that. Let's do Blueberry Bushel. Although I'm kind of tempted to maybe do Azure Afternoon, actually. Okay, so we're gonna play around with those. So let's just let's start with the lightest color, which would be the daffodil. So you can just, you know, squeeze your ink pad and get some color in there. And then there are a couple of options. So I am going to get this brush. So I think the yellow one, I think I'm gonna do yellow, these two will be pink, and then this one will be blue. So I'm actually gonna squeeze this guy and get a little bit of water in my pen. So you can't see it, but I can see the water moving down. There we go. I see the drops. So I'm actually just gonna put a little bit of water in here. And I'm gonna do the same in this guy. I'm gonna do the same here. Let's get a little bit of water on here already. Okay, so now I am going to, which guy did I say was going to be yellow? This guy, right? So we're going to put some color in here. And then if I want a bit more, you want to be able to see it, right? And then the other thing I'm going to do, or we might end up taking our marker once this dries. I'm just going to make it a tiny bit darker down in this corner, or try to. Okay, so that is that guy. I should have some paper towel. So then rinse that guy out, put that one away. And then I'm gonna go with the bubble bath. So same thing. You could also do this, not watercolor, you could use blends or markers. There are no stamps, like there's no coordinating stamp to fill these guys in. So make this one a little bit more full. Add a bit more pigment. Knowing full well this guy is not as he's not as dark of a color, right? Just gonna try to get a little bit more ink and a little less water. So that's that color. And then we're gonna do the berry burst. Although I'm kind of tempted now that we should do like 4 totally different colors, so I'm gonna switch to this guy actually. We should do lemon lime twist or something, right? That would be a good one. Okay, and then again, I'm going to dry this and get some of that darker ink. Okay. Actually, you know where I'm going to use this? I'm going to use this in the bubble bath. Make sure I don't have any blue left in here. I'm going to take a little bit of this. There we go. Draw that in a bit. Yes, okay, I like that. And then what did I say? We're gonna do lemon lime twist, right? Seems like the right kind of bright green you'd see in a chemistry lab. Again, making sure, if you guys don't have these yet, they're super fun. The key thing is to actually push where it says push. If you push where it says push, you will get the effect that you're looking for. Okay, so again, I'm going to dry this off, and then I want just some of the darker ink color. There, we got some nice shadowing going on in there. And the only other thing I'm going to do now, because I'm just going to get some crushed curry and add a little bit more to the yellow. Now that I've done that with the other ones, I like how that looks. And then I'm going to get a bit of water going in here and just kind of blend that in a little bit. Okay, so we've got all our watercoloring done. And then the other thing I thought I might do, at least in a couple of them, is stamp some bubbles. So we're gonna stamp some bubbles, but I need to make sure this is dry. So while we are waiting for that to dry, let's stamp on this guy. So what I wanted to do on this one is stamp some of these symbols in Versamark and then use white embossing powder. So let's get out the embossing powder. I'm so terrible. I have that amazing embossing kit, but unless I know I'm going to be like down here all day embossing, I don't generally use it, even though it's great. So I would recommend you do, and for sure it's worth having. It's got the tweezers, it's got the paintbrush for when you put too much powder on. Okay, so we are going to use this guy. It's probably going to be hard to see. But I'm going to make a bit of a pattern. Hopefully you're not seeing too much of my gray hair in the camera, because that's what I find happens. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to get some powder on it so we can kind of see where we're at. Okay, and I'm going to heat that up, and then we're going to do some more. Okay, ooh. I don't have enough cord-free. Caught on something. I can kind of get in here, I think. Okay, and you can see I've got a little bit of embossing powder in a couple other spots, and I don't mind that, so I think that's kind of okay. So the other option here was I could also throw in some of these symbols, but I think I'm just gonna stick with this guy. And I'm gonna do another layer. I'm just trying to make it so it's not like completely where the last one was. Okay, and then we're going to do some more embossing of that. Put that away. Put that in again. Okay, I'm just going to get this one edge again. Okay, so then that's going to be good because the rest of it's going to be covered. I need to splurge and get the new Stampin' Up heat tool. It's got 2 different temperatures. I just still have my old one that's just 1. Okay, so there we go. So this is what I'm envisioning. So this is gonna go on here like this. This is gonna go down here. This guy is gonna be on here. So we'll figure out, I really like this edge, so we might, we're gonna have to play around with that. And then these guys are gonna go here. And then this little clipboard is gonna be up here. So we're gonna finish fussy cutting that. And then we're gonna stamp on it. Okay, so now I'm actually going to use my marker on this because I want the you and me to be in black. And then I think, oh, that's not black. The chemistry, I either want to be in berry burst or blackberry. So let's see what that looks like. We'll do both and then we'll decide which one we want. So we can do this, you plus me. So Stampin' Up! Has redesigned their marker. I guess I have some of the new ones. So my berry one would be new. They came out with a different tip at this end. Okay, so first let's try it like this with the chemistry in blackberry, and we'll see which one we like. You guys can tell me which one you like. So you always want to huff once you use the markers because they start to dry. So that gives it a purple color, dark purple. Or we can do the brighter berry colors. Let's see which one we like. So I know there's a couple of you watching still, so I'd be curious to know which one. Should we go with the brighter or the one that looks more like the black? What do you think? Or we could do it all in black, I guess. But I kind of liked the idea of making the one word stand out a bit more. What do you think? The other thing I guess I would like to know is how much of those we cut. But let's go ahead and do some gluing. So I'm going to adhere this. Do two colors, yep. So black with the berry or black with the blackberry? Which one do you think? The one that pops a little bit more or blends in a bit more? Sorry, the one with the berry. Okay. You shouldn't be sorry. I should know what I want. That's just, you know, I like to be inclusive, get other people's opinions beside my own. Okay, I feel like I'm gonna cut that off. That's not even straight, so even with scissors I can't do. Look at that. Look at how terrible that was. Oh my god, that wasn't even close to being straight. Okay. So if we have this kind of I don't want it to be too much bigger than the test tubes, I don't think. So I think we should separate all the test tubes, but again, let's take a look at what that looks like if we don't. I think I like the idea of being able to kind of put them however I want them. Plus then we don't have any weird white space. I feel like right now we have weird white space. But let's see what you guys think. Agreed, separate, okay. The reason I left them, well, first of all, I didn't want to do all the cutting. And also I knew it would be easier to watercolor something that was, can you imagine if I was trying to just watercolor that piece on its own? I thought that would be tricky. I'd have it all over the place. But I know how long fussy cutting can take, and especially I find with this paper, it's a little bit thicker, the watercolor paper, so I do find it takes a bit more to get started. Hey Chris, how are you? How is wherever you live now? I can't remember. Newfoundland? Nova Scotia? Nova Scotia. Is that right? New Brunswick? Maybe it's New Brunswick. Anyway, wherever you are, far from us. Okay, so there are those. So let's, again, so this is going on here like this. This we have to figure out which length we're gonna do. And then this guy is gonna be up here. And then these guys. And again, we gotta figure out like a good order. So I'm just gonna take a quick look in the catalog at this stamp set, because sometimes, you know, there's a reason they came up with them. I mean, there's the order they have them obviously in the stamp. It's just probably the way I should do it, but it's a science. Page 80. I'm just gonna see what they did for their samples. Page 80. Do they have a sample? Oh yeah, so they did. Oh yeah, they just did the order that they were in. Okay, and they did the bubbles coming out the top, but we're not gonna do that. But I am gonna put some bubbles in this guy. Sorry, I'm a mess now. Stamp pads everywhere. But I wanted to stamp the bubbles. Some bubbles in this guy. There we go. And I might stamp some bubbles in the pink one. So I'm going to stamp the bubbles in berry. Make sure it's clean. And stamp some, I might stamp them off though. Okay, so there's some bubbles in that guy. Okay, so I'm not going to stamp bubbles in them all, just for a little bit of difference. And then the way that they are in the stamp set is this guy, and then this guy, and then this guy, and this one. Okay, so I'm gonna get back in here with this, and then I think I'm gonna cut it off kind of about there. So I'm gonna take my marker, maybe right where that dark bit is actually. Okay. And line that up. You can see I'm gonna look like I was torturing something. Now I've got berry burst all over me. Blackberry bliss, I should say, pardon me. Okay, we need to stamp on that. This whole thing I think is gonna go on there with dimensionals. Okay, this guy's gonna come like this. So we're gonna have like this guy, this guy, so we've got our test tubes, kind of like that. Let's see if you guys think this is a good plan. Okay, and then we're gonna stamp on our clipboard. The other thing I just need to figure out though, because I'm going to be really angry if this is crooked. So if I think it looks to me like it's straight, is it? Oh, it is. Perfect. Okay, so it's a good thing to test with these red rubber when you can't see it, if you're not going to use like a Stamp-A-Majig or your Stamparatus, or I want to know that this is going to be straight. And I know you're saying to me, you just colored that, but I don't like how that was looking. Okay. Huff on that. Bring this over. I'm using a grid line. There we go. Okay, I think that looks kind of cute. So that guy's going to be up here. And sometimes what I like to do, I think it's kind of a neat little trick. So I'm going to use a mini black and I'm going to pop up one side but not the other. So then I'm going to get my seal and put that down in the corner. So we're gonna have that like that. This whole thing is gonna pop up on here. And then we're gonna have our test tubes. There's something I'm not loving about what's going on with the test tubes, but I don't really know what to do. So we are just gonna leave it like this. I still think it's kind of cute. Or maybe it's this piece that I kind of wish I had something else going on with it. I don't know if I wish I had like bannered ends or something. I don't know. I don't think I have any dies that are a good shape for that now that I've cut it already to that rectangle. Trying to think. Stylish Shapes doesn't have dies. Those are too big. I feel like these guys, they don't have the right shapes. And I don't think there's a deckled rectangle that's small enough. Ooh, maybe this guy. Oh, that might have been interesting. I like that. Okay. Apologies. We spent all this time making that piece. That's okay. We can adapt. Okay. I'm going to die cut this. And then we are going to use it instead. Yes. Okay. Now we're talking. So this is from our Nested Essentials. Okay. I'm just going to bring this guy in. I'm going to put a bit of ink on it because I do like that look. But I'm going to really kind of rub it off here and you really just kind of come in circles. The key is to come in circles. I wasn't doing a very good job actually on my other one. Then you don't get these ink marks. Okay, that is way better. Okay, way better, way better. Okay, so get those guys off, get rid of that piece. This piece is gonna go on with dimensionals. So I'm gonna get my big black dimensionals. I don't use these nearly as much as I use my white ones, but I would also never not have them. So it's definitely worth having a pack of those guys. Okay, and now this is gonna go on here. Oh yeah, way better, way better. Oh my God, so much better. Oh, love it. Okay, So I'm gonna put those guys on flat and then this piece with dimensionals. So again, we're gonna do, this is more than you need, but now I feel bad because I've wasted your time. So let's do these guys quickly. So often with something like this, I'll just put some adhesive up the middle. I don't worry too much about if the whole thing is covered. It's not going anywhere. Okay, what's my order again? Where's my stamp set? This guy. And then this one. This one. And this guy. Trying to think if I want them in a straight line. I guess pretty much a straight line, right? They'd be on your lab table. Okay. All right, so this challenge was part of the TGIF. It's the TGIF sketch challenge. So they put out a challenge, I think every Friday. So this is the one that just came out. Like I said, I liked it. I thought it was cute. Basically, I saw a cute card with it, and then I was like, "Ooh, I would like to make a cute little card." And oh my gosh, yes, that looks so much better. And then I thought, well, if I'm going to do it, I should use a stamp set I haven't used very much, and that lots of other people don't use all the time. If you're going to enter a challenge, and then I thought, well, if I'm going to make this card, let's do it together. So I appreciate your time. I realize that this has taken longer than I wanted, even with me doing the fussy cutting in advance. So for those of you who stuck with it, thank you. For those of you who are tuning in after the fact, thank you. I'm going to open this up just because that's going to allow me to sort of see and be centered. Oh, that's cute, you guys. I think it's cute. What do you think? Okay, let's get our actual nice piece of paper here. All right, so that is our end result. So we did that cute little sketch, we did some watercoloring, we did some heat embossing, we used our blends, we did some blending brush, and I think we have a cute little card. So thank you, happy Sunday. Hopefully you're not sweating to death wherever you live. And yeah, check out, this will be on my post probably in a couple of days because tomorrow is Team Hop Day, so there will be a new card and everyone else's designs for our Team Hop. All right, thanks so much. Have a great night.